Hey everyone, it is Willow. Welcome back. Starting off this video, I want you to think of something that you desire to have. If the version of you was capable of holding that desire in your current reality, you would have it. But there's a reason why you don't. I was at the gym a few days ago and I was listening to a sermon, and the pastor said something along these lines. And we hear this all the time, right? Whenever you're trying to manifest, change your realities, get what you actually desire. You hear it from people who study quantum leaping, life coaches. Everyone tells you that you have to change the current version of yourself in order to get to where you want to go. It's the truth. However, I was contemplating this whole entire week about like how you actually do that. I do struggle at times with getting from point A to point B because I don't know what to do with that in between. Like, okay, I need to change the current version of myself. How? And why? In what area? I need a little bit more of a focus and a niche. And I feel like that's where personal coaches are so beneficial, because when you work with somebody like one on one and they can look into your life and like see what would work best for you, you always end up with like the right answers and the correct answers to be able to excel a little bit further. But some people don't have the luxury of being able to have a life coach or enroll into a course, buy an ebook, whatever the case is. I wanted to have a little bit of a conversation about what I think about what it takes to achieve your desire and how you can actually do it where you're currently at right now. And it's going to be a little bit broad because obviously I don't know your life. I don't know how to get in, like how to communicate to you. But I feel like this is a good formula to base it off of. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first step I think you need to acknowledge or pay attention to is what the Lord is trying to prune out of your life. Now, hear me out. I feel like I'm 24 and I've lived a bunch of different lives, right? I've had a different change in music tastes and aesthetics and clothes and mentalities. Like we all go through growth and changing. A lot of the times that comes with conviction silently that we're not even aware of. You may be operating in a specific mentality and you know that, like, okay, I am about to embark on this new journey, whatever it may be. And the Lord is trying to like convict you of a specific habit or behavior that you're doing because it's going to prevent you along the way for your journey. And then you change and you're like, okay, yeah, when I was, at this age, I used to do this and now I don't do it anymore. Those small little convictions, they hold a lot more weight than we think. The Lord constantly is convicting us of habits, behaviors, environments, and it's always for the greater of our good. He knows which path is going to lead us to death or it's going to lead us to prosperity. And when you get those little feelings of like, I feel like I shouldn't be engaging in this anymore, this habit, this behavior, maybe even in this environment, hanging around certain people, that's the Lord kind of tapping on your shoulder, like, hey, like, yeah, like I see you trying to grow, I see you trying to prosper. You should stop doing this. Listening to those convictions are so important because they can actually help you navigate your path a little bit more clear. When you feel like you may be going in the wrong direction or you don't know, you can rely on the Lord to give you that intuitive correction or intuitive knowing that, like, okay, this is the right way to go. Obviously, ways to practice this would be like prayer, meditation, spending time in the Word, spending time with yourself, knowing specific body signs. So when you're feeling anxious and you're like, I don't know why I'm feeling so anxious in this environment, know that, like, okay, this environment is not for me. My spirit's trying to tell me that, like, hey, we gotta go. Like, this isn't gonna benefit you and this isn't where you're supposed to be. And then knowing when you are in the right direction and when you are pouring into the things that you should be doing and feeling comfort and peace in those areas as well. Sitting in silence, I feel like, is so underrated, but it allows you to hear your thoughts and hear exactly what is happening inside your brain in like your mentality to get down to the bottom of things. It helps so much to that very soft and quiet voice that the Holy Spirit speaks in. You may miss just what is for you. So, always practicing that, spending time in silence, prayer, meditation, whatever it is. This is my number one because I feel like convictions are so important because it's like a warning sign. You cannot attain what is over here if you're going to be going this way. So whenever you get that conviction, it's like redirecting you to the right direction of, the habits and the behaviors and the person that you have to become in order for you to attain what it is that you're desiring. Even as far as like having, I don't know, like recently I've been on a journey of clearing my skin and trying to find remedies to clear my skin, which is so challenging in itself. And honestly, this is a journey. It is such a journey with acne. If you have acne, I feel you. And I feel like it's even worse because I have adult acne. What growing up, I never had it. So I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's definitely my hormones. It's hormonal. And I'm thinking about how, like, even certain things, like, for an example, I have my coffee right here. I love my coffee so much. I drink a coffee every single day. However, I noticed that my acne gets worse when after I drink my coffee. Like after I drink my coffee, my acne is more inflamed. And for the past week, 2 weeks, I've been getting really convicted to switch back over to matcha because when I was drinking matcha for like a long period of time, my acne was clearing up and doing like so much better. It wasn't as inflamed. But I just love coffee so much. But I know, like, if that is my desire to have clear skin, there's certain things that, like, I have to allow my convictions to guide me and to be obedient to them. So, going into number two, it is actually to study what you want. Now, I will never tell anybody to become somebody else. I think there is so much power operating in your authenticity, being true to yourself and who you are. Always, always, always be yourself in every single circumstance. However, there is beauty in being passionate about something and then feeling inspired by art, inspired by creation, and using your personal authenticity and your truth to convert that inspiration into something very beautiful and unique. When you have a blueprint, it's a lot easier to work towards that goal. I want to use the example of like a model. When you are trying to become a model, the one thing that you're going to do is study other models. You're going to study how they walk. You're going to study maybe their wellness routines and how they live their lifestyles on the physical end. And then on the spiritual end, you may figure out like how they gain confidence or how they trust themselves on the runway. What type of behaviors and attitudes did they have when auditioning, trying to find agencies? How did they go about the process? When you are trying to achieve something, you're going to look at the blueprint. You're going to look at somebody who's already doing it or somebody who's already living it and kind of study their ways to see, okay, how can I personally achieve this? And obviously, this has been done time and time and time again. I feel like this strategy right here is like, it can't fail. Like, it genuinely cannot fail. If you are so dedicated, it cannot fail. There are so many people who have already achieved what it is that you want and that you desire. You should look at them for information and knowledge because they may have gone 50 years trying to figure something out. The moment that you can use their strategy, it's like you're going to get it quicker than they have and that you probably could have ever imagined. It's like kind of exercising a skill. The moment you start to study, okay, like how this person walks, down the runway, and then you start practicing walking, it's like you're exercising your skills, your knowledge in that area, using them to study. If I wanted to become a doctor down the line, I'm not just gonna like today be like, okay, I'm gonna go put on my white coat. Who's gonna be coming in to see me because I don't have any knowledge in that area. I have to go to school and I have to study and I may have to shadow other doctors to see how they operate and how they run on a daily basis to be able to pick up their skills and their knowledge. Literally anything that you desire, look at somebody who already has it, who already has achieved it, who's already accomplished what it is and study it. Don't become that person. Don't copy. Don't like and try to embody something or somebody that you're not. Stay true to yourself and stay authentic, but look at this skill set. Look at the way that they move, their mentalities, the spiritual and the physical of it all, and walk in that with confidence and practice it every single day. I feel like this also ties a little bit into the first one. Again, like how the Lord convicts us of certain things. There's going to be a lot of behaviors and like habits that you have that you can no longer take with you when you do start to realize what these people do. Going back to the model example, if you find out that they eat a protein goal every single day of like their body weight, there's going to be some changes that you have to make into your routine in order for you to now maintain the specific diet that they have and meet your protein goals every single day. This is one reason why I love vision boards. Vision boards are amazing when they're used correctly. You cannot have a vision board and not put action towards it. It's just going to sit there in your room and you're just going to continue to keep looking at it. But when you have a vision board and you actually put action behind it and you're actually working towards the goal, there's no way it can't work out. The time frame may differentiate between each person, but there's no way it's not going to work out if you continue to keep pouring into it. Another one that I love is Pinterest. I have recently fallen in love with Pinterest because there's so many cool and creative things on there. I had used Pinterest for like affiliate marketing and creating like infographics and stuff. I don't do it as much anymore, but I am trying to get back into it eventually. And I recently got on Pinterest because I've been trying to change my style up a little bit more, trying to get a little bit more fashionable, because if it's not corporate wear that I'm wearing, then I'm wearing sports gear from the gym, like gym wear. And I was like, we gotta change this up. So I've been on Pinterest and I've been looking at some outfits and some inspiration, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing shoes and bags and different styles that I just like never would have thought to put myself in. But seeing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so inspiring. Like, I'm gonna try to put some fits like this together this summer and see what works best for me. So cool to see how inspired you can get just from like seeing other people's work. And again, don't copy, always make your own version. But there's so many ways to get inspired. There's so many ways to just pick something and focus on it, study it down to the details, and walk in that path. And I do want to make this super clear. We do not condone destiny swapping over here, okay? Don't try to be somebody else. Don't desire to be somebody else. Always love yourself first. If that second step, if you do not have the love for yourself and who you currently are and where you're at, I suggest that you work on that first. Disclaimer right here is going to lead me into my third idea slash point and my last one, which is figure out those subconscious underlying beliefs. It can be hard to understand what's going on in your subconscious because we are out here in the 3D, in the consciousness realm. We're working, we're living life, we got plans, we're doing the things how we need to be doing it. However, we don't spend a lot of times looking into our subconscious and why we do the things that we do. One thing that shaped me from understanding like how deep your subconscious goes, obviously this whole entire journey of healing, but finances. If somebody were to ask you the question, "Oh, do you want $1 million?" Like, of course, you'd be like, "Yes." Like, I want $1 million. And then if you were told, "Okay, well, what if your subconscious is not allowing you to receive $1 million because you're subconsciously telling yourself that you don't want the $1 million?" And you'd be like, "Well, that's stupid because I know that I want $1 million. Like, who wouldn't want $1 million? Like, I'm ready to receive $1 million." But it's funny because a lot of the time we don't even have the capacity for what it is that we desire. And we have an underlying limiting belief within ourselves that is telling us why we can't achieve it or why we don't have it, or pushing it away, actually like repelling it subconsciously through energy and vibrationally. And when I was thinking about the money situation, the financial one, I was like, what the heck? Like, this makes me think a little bit deeper because I'm like, that is insane to think that you actually may just be the one standing in between your way because of your underlying limiting belief system. One of the best ways that has helped me figure out whenever I'm like, okay, what is really happening here? I always ask myself why until I figure it out. And going back to the finances, a lot of the times we develop these underlying limiting beliefs when we are very young. So in your childhood, maybe you've heard your mom or your dad say, "We can't afford that. Money doesn't come very easily. It takes a long time or a lot of hard work in order for you to be able to attain a certain amount of money." Even just thoughts around scarcity with finances. And then as you get older, you now have the belief that, oh, you have to work really hard in order for to get money, or money is really hard to get. And if you're going to have that belief in money, this $1 million is sitting there waiting for you to just accept and come into agreement with the fact that money doesn't have to be hard to make. Money can be easy to make. You can do something and it can generate you a large sum of money, but you have to be in agreement with it in order for it to be released. You know, you have to be vibrating like at that same frequency and at that same availability for it to meet you. When I am trying to figure out these whys, I often ask myself, why, until I get down to the root cause. So I'll use the gym for an example. If I was like, I hate going to the gym, and I was like, why? Because I get really bored and I get tired. Why? Well, I get bored because I don't know what to do in the gym and I don't want to try new things. Why? Because I feel like I look stupid when I'm trying new exercises and I don't like the pressure of not knowing what I'm doing. Why? Because I feel like other people are judging me. Now at that point, it's like you are allowing yourself to be too wrapped into the fact of how you're perceived around other people or how others perceive you. As soon as you just keep asking yourself those questions of like why, it gets down to the root cause. There is a difference, however, between why and facts. Like for an example, if you're like, I want to start a business and somebody's like, okay, well, why haven't you started it yet? And you're like, well, because I need $5,000 and I only have 500. That's a fact. Like you need the 5,000 to start the business and you only have 500. But when you get to that fact, like, and you know what the fact is, it's like you can start working towards it. Okay, I got 500 saved up. I'm going to start working towards my 5,000 and then I'm going to start my business. But if you already had the 5,000 and you hadn't started your business, now there's an underlying belief in there somewhere where it's like, okay, why haven't you started? Maybe I feel scared. I'm afraid I'll fail. I don't know, like, what I'm doing. Figure out that underlying belief that is tied to whatever desire it is that you want so you can receive it energetically and you can allow it to invite it into your reality or even like sell yourself into the reality that has that desire and that's obtaining it. Those three things: allowing yourself to be obedient in the convictions that you get, studying your current desire, what it takes to get there, what type of behaviors, habits, mentalities do you need to have, and then also prying into your subconscious a little bit more, figuring out those underlying beliefs as to why you may not be acting upon something or going in the direction that you want to be. When I've been thinking about it this past few weeks of, becoming a different version of yourself to attain the desires or to be able to hold the capacity of the desire that you want, these were the three things that came to my mind and the formula that I think would be so important to follow, because there's just no way that you can't achieve it. I feel like because there are people who have achieved it with just one of those ways, like there's been people who have just simply studied something so much to the point where like they have actually become it. You see that often all the time through schooling. Like people want to be a specific career path and they study it through school and they obtain it. That's simply just by learning through textbook example and other people and how they navigate that industry. And then you have some people who genuinely like change who they are and are immediately able to invite things into their lives just by listening to the convictions of putting something down, leaving a relationship, leaving an environment, or getting out of a specific job. And then they excel so much further. When you start to figure out those underlying subconscious beliefs, you automatically just invite it in so easily because you've worked through it and you've raised your vibration and you're now energetically matching and vibrating on the frequency of that desire. So I feel like when you put all three of these together and you just continue to keep working and staying aware and vigilant to all of these ideas, you eventually will be able to achieve your desires. Now, again, I'm no psychologist. I don't even really study a lot of neuroscience or quantum leaping. These are just some of my thoughts that I've been thinking about that I like to share with you guys because I do spend a lot of time listening to podcasts and listening to people who do study quantum leaping and do life coaching, manifestation, also just pastors and people who follow the Lord and all of their knowledge and information that they learn along the way. And I like to piece it together for ways that make sense to me. And hopefully, it helps also digest to my community and the people that do spend the time watching my videos. Or if you're new here and you just were like, it kind of clicked for me in that way, I'm happy that I did, and I'm happy that I was able to make that impact. We're over here learning and growing, inviting all of the abundance and the beautiful things inside of our lives. And I hope that you continue to spread love, show love, and be love every single day and throughout this journey of yours. I love you guys so much, always, and I will see you in another video. Bye.